Hello and welcome to The First Samurai, a game by Vivid Image, released by Imageworks. The introduction set up the plot quite excellently. The young samurai wants to avenge his master's death, and in order to do so, he has to chase the Dragon King through time. Seeking help from the Wizard Mage, which is a title I've always found interesting, but naming conventions, whatever, it's not for me to question them. But the Wizard Mage will help this young samurai completing his task, but he can't do all the work by himself. So the young samurai will have to find objects on the different levels that will help the Wizard Mage help him complete the different levels. On this level, it is wooden logs that has to be found in order to actually finish the level. Usually there are more objects than you need in order to complete the level, so you don't have to worry about finding every single one of them. The introduction says that the samurai only has his magic sword available, but as you've probably seen when you start the game, you don't actually have your magic sword. You have to earn it. Every single time you defeat an enemy, they will release their magical energy, and the samurai will absorb said magical energy. If he hasn't got a sword after he's built up a certain amount of magical energy, or sword magic if you want, which is displayed on the screen, the sword will be summoned. And of course, fighting with a sword is infinitely better than fighting with your fists, but the sword is also a kind of shield. If the samurai gets very low on health, the sword will so-called sacrifice itself in order to protect the samurai and restoring some of his health in the process. In many cases, though, if you are in the position where you lose the sword, you're already taking so much damage that you actually die from it anyway. But it's a nice little safety thing. The pot we are outside at the moment is basically a checkpoint thing that you can activate by sacrificing some sword magic. And once that has been activated, it will be the point you return to if you should die, or if you use a return potion. You have various different pickups available and supporting weapons. For instance, the daggers, which are just straight fire weapons, of which you can carry up to 3 at one time, so you will show 3 at a time. The axe, which is much more powerful than the dagger, but you can only ever have 1 at a time. And then the seeker, a small star thing that you can have 2 of at any one time, which will seek out the closest enemy in order to destroy them or protect you using the star things as basically a shield, so anything coming near you will be destroyed. Food restores health, as you have probably already seen by now, and even though you are at full health, picking up extra food is definitely worth doing because it adds to your bonus score towards the end of the level. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. By the way, I could probably have edited that death out, but I felt I want to showcase just how much damage the game can actually throw at you if it wants to. Let's go over the interface quickly. On the bottom left side, you got the samurai's arm, which is his health bar. As it become less visible, you can probably imagine you are not doing overly well. So the immediate right of that is whatever weapon he may have equipped. Magical items like the magic flask can also show up there. Further in the middle of the screen is lives on the score, and further to the right of that, the icon signifying whether you have a bell or not. And of course, further to the right, your sword, which is your sword magic power, which I just explained before. The bells are necessary in order to summon the wizard mage. So if you have an issue that the wizard mage might be able to help you with, you will need to have a bell to summon him. If you haven't got a bell, you better go and find one, because most of the things that requires the wizard mage's help is not something you can solve by yourself. If there's something the wizard mage can help you with, his image will temporarily appear to showcase that this is where he can assist you in some way or another even. So I was very loose going over the plot and the individual components of the game. So let's talk about graphics, shall we? It is definitely not bad. It is actually rather excellent in many ways. In some enemy types I'm not necessarily I'm not necessarily keen on even. Sorry, words. But there's no denying that the overall quality of the graphics and animation is very, very high. The sound, I've heard some people not being a fan of it, which surprises me quite a bit. I think the soundscape in general in this game is of an extremely high quality. I won't deny that certain sound effects perhaps are a bit overdone, but it fits the game. It needs some good old noisy, meaty sound effects. The music in the game is again of a very high quality. Most of them are gentle compositions. Of course, the introduction music was a bit funky, but by and large, it is more calmed down kind of thing. Controls are spot on. You never will feel you are not in control of your character, and it responds the way you want it to. Once you get used to it, it can be a bit odd that the fire button in and by itself, if you haven't got a weapon, will not do anything. From a gameplay point of view, which of course is the overriding factor in any game, it reminds me a bit of Turrican, which perhaps sounds a bit odd because Turrican is a very different game. But in Turrican, if you know what you're doing, you can head straight for the exit very, very quickly of any given level, or you can go exploring. And the same applies to this game. You can go for the end of level objects you need in order to complete the level, or you can go about exploring, and there's actually quite a bit to explore on each level. So you can define the pace of the game yourself. There's a few niggly bits which I'm not necessarily keen on. The screen scrolling, you can outwalk the screen scrolling, which means that if you need to jump onto a ledge that's at the side of the screen and the screen hasn't finished scrolling, you will not actually grab onto the ledge, which is a bit meh. And secondly, playing this game and getting back to a trouble spot can feel rather daunting because of the length of the game. If you are expecting a quick action fix, This is probably not a game that you would find overly enjoyable. It is definitely much more of an action adventure. Overall, though, I will give it top marks for being an absolute excellent game, sound, graphics, and gameplay. And on that note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye for now.